Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I thought, since it's spring and I'm a very season-based crafter and herbalist, that it would be fun to go through some of my favorite spring plants and herbs. I get asked pretty much every day what my favorite plants and herbs are to use in my practice, and in all honesty, it changes just about every month. Personally, it's very important to me to work with the seasons and what's growing abundantly around me in nature. And of course, there are exceptions. In the wintertime, I do use dried herbs that I gathered in the summer or ones I found at markets. But once it's spring and the world is alive again, I am using all that I can find around me. So today I figured I'd cover the three that I feel quite a few of you may be able to get your hands on. And those are purple dead nettle, violets, and chickweed. So in this video, I will be covering how to identify it, the medicinal uses of each plant, culinary uses, and common magical correspondences. So first, let's begin with purple dead nettle. Now, the name may be a little off-putting, but don't let it fool you. Purple dead nettle is a beautiful and wonderful little plant. It's one of the first to grow here in spring, and personally it's something I use to distinguish the turn of seasons. Purple dead nettle is a hardy annual, and in warmer climates it typically flowers in early spring, though in more temperate areas it can flower all throughout the growing season. Now, as a member of the mint family, it carries many of the same characteristics, such as a square stem, opposite leaves, and two-lipped flowers. All these traits align pretty well with other mint family members, but unlike them, it is essentially non-aromatic. The leaves are covered in long, silvery white hairs and are rather wrinkly, and they tend to change shape as they move up the stem. The lower leaves tend to be heart or wedge-shaped with rounded or pointy teeth, and the upper ones are notably purple and triangular-shaped with a shorter leaf stalk. To ensure proper identification, I would recommend waiting until the plant flowers. The flowers are a light pinkish purple and peek out from under the leaves, and they are essentially a two-lipped petal tube, and the bottom lip has two lobes speckled with deep purple splotches. The leaves and flowers can be eaten sparingly in soups, salads, or stir-fries, and can even be used as little garnishes. Now, the leaves are a little hairy, so it's not exactly something you'd want to eat an entire salad of, but it's a good little additive. If you were to use it medicinally, it's best harvested before it flowers, but I would recommend waiting till it flowers just for proper identification for any other use, and even medicinal use if you are kind of new to this. In the past, it's been used to stop bleeding by applying the bruised leaves to an open wound, and it's also commonly been used as a diaphoretic. Though personally I find there are other herbs that are better used for these practices. Magically, they have associations with happiness, fortitude, healing, and resilience. And to use it, you can either harvest and try it to use later on, or just clip it and use it fresh. Now let's move on to violets. Violets are probably my absolute favorite spring forageable. They're a highly nutritious wild edible as well as a versatile medicinal. As a whole, there's a lot of variation within the species, so I can only cover general traits, and I would recommend, as always, to research the species in your area in terms of edibility and use. But, in general, most violets are herbaceous perennials with a basal rosette of heart-shaped or irregularly lobed leaves. The violet's heart-shaped leaves and irregular flowers are their most defining characteristics. The leaves typically are smooth with rounded teeth, and the flowers have a little round tail, like thingy, if you will, that you can see if you flip them over. The flowers litter lawns and gardens, and honestly, where I live, you can find them just about anywhere. Violets are easy to spread through seed and will quickly take over any area, though personally I don't have a problem with that. Now, the sweet violet, or the English violet, is the one most commonly used in medicinal and culinary practices, though there are many other species that do just as well. Medicinally, violets can be used both topically and internally. Internally, they can be used as a blood cleanser, a lymphatic stimulant, and a respiratory remedy. And topically, violets can be used to treat dry skin, bug bites, and any skin conditions that could be aided by violets' cooling and anti-inflammatory properties. The leaves and greens are edible and can be used just about anywhere you'd otherwise use greens, such as a pesto or a salad. The flowers make wonderful decorations on cakes or in salads, and you could candy them or turn them to syrup. Really, it's endless, and I love crafting with violets. Especially when it comes to violet syrup. Magically, they're associated with love, tranquility, protection, and healing. Alrighty now, last but not least, let's talk about chickweed. Chickweed is a gentle medicinal and an easy wild edible to find. You may see it growing in between cracks on sidewalks or on trail sides or even in your garden. The leaves, flowers, stems, and buds are all edible and rather tasty. For edibility, it's best to harvest kind of early on when the shoots are still tender and not leggy. Chickweed is a low-growing annual with smooth, hairless, opposite leaves, with no teeth. Its stem is green or slightly reddish, and though it can sometimes be chewy, it's never woody. The flowers resemble small white stars and grow in little clusters, and though it may appear to be 10 petals, they actually only have 5, as they are simply just very deeply cleft. Now, one of its most unique traits is a single line of small white hairs that travel up the stem, switching positions at each little leaf juncture, giving them sort of a candy cane appearance. You can use them in salads and sandwiches, really, once again, anywhere you could put greens otherwise. I have a wonderful pesto recipe made with chickweed that is absolutely delicious. And I'm hoping to share a recipe on that soon. Chickweed is easy to digest and nutrient-rich, and some people swear by it as a weight loss herb. Medicinally, it's cooling and soothing and an anti-inflammatory. It can be used topically as salves, compresses, poultices, or oils, and internally it can be used as teas, vinegars, or food. Chickweed is considered to be a blood cleanser and a strengthening herb, especially after a long illness. It's high in iron and has detoxifying qualities. And there isn't a limit to how much you can ingest. Honestly, I could probably go on for days about this little guy. Now, magically, it has ties to love, fidelity, healing, and weight loss. And personally, I've found it useful in magic for new beginnings or a fresh start. Alrighty guys, that's all I got for you today with those herbs. I hope some of you enjoy it and get out and forage if you can. Foraging is such a beautiful way to connect with your food and really meet it at the source. Personally, I find it to be a really powerful way to connect to my magic. And I hope you guys do as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you soon.